Well, good morning. As per Jeff's comments, I will serve a one-game suspension this week at the University of Montana. Don Bailey will serve as head coach in my stead, and Dan Green will serve as defensive coordinator. Questions?
Mike, will you make the trip to Montana, or are you going to stay here?
I don't know yet.
How much confidence do you have in Don? I know you've been friends with him for a long time.
We did this once before in 2001 when I was suspended for comments about officiating, and Don did not serve as an interim head coach on that date, but he's been around for a long time. He knows exactly what we like and how we want to play. I think it goes without saying that offensively we've gotten off the deck a little bit around in this program, having gone from 248 a game in 2010 to well over 400 now a game. So I like where we're at offensively. I guess our major concern is defensively, where we continue to struggle against the run, and we continue to struggle against touchdowns late in the second quarter. An issue that's happened 5 consecutive weekends in a row. So hopefully we get that solved on Saturday.
You talked about how you like where your offense is going, but the disparity between points scored at home and on the road is pretty noticeable. How do you fix that, or just talk about that a little bit?
Well, I guess the major thing for us is we're pretty comfortable in Holt Arena. You know, we got on the road last week, and we faced an inordinate number of second and long and super longs. We gave up a sack. We gave up a tackle for loss on the goal line coming out. We had 2 false start penalties, and we're looking at 1st and 15. And Kevin's got to complete 3 passes just to get close to moving the sticks, which he did 5 times last week. So offensively, if we will limit, or we can find more positives on 1st down, we get an opportunity to right away get going down the field. And of course, last week on one of our early drives, we drove all the way down to the 8-yard line, and Kevin scrambled because we had a receiver run a wrong route on the back end, and he lost control of the football. Well, we went back down and scored on the next drive, and then we had several other opportunities in the first half. Yet, in a ping-pong game, which has turned out to be because our defense is so unavailable at spots, we've got to turn it into a track meet and try to match them stride for stride.
Coach, do you feel fortunate that the situation has not gotten bigger than just a 1-game suspension? Do you feel fortunate that all it is a 1-game suspension?
Jeff, I'm not talking about any other situation other than the fact that as a football team, we continue to try and grow and become better at all positions, in all categories, and in every single way. And obviously, a tough season like we're going through again right now is a measure of some of the things we've had to do scholarship-wise on defense to make sure we're able to get over the top APR-wise. And I'm proud that we've made our APR gains, and we'll be able to publicize and talk about those in the weeks to come. But more importantly, we're operating a little shorthanded defensively for unavailable. The list of guys who are not on our depth chart defensively is staggering. And that has caused a tremendous stress on our defense and our defensive staff to try and find a way to slow people down.
You talked after this game a little bit about the Nebraska game and the effect that it's had on your defense. Can you elaborate?
Well, we came out of the Black Hills State defensively having not surrendered a touchdown, and we came out of the Nebraska game without a key component in the back end, which is Tanner Davis. And Tanner is one of those guys who, as a redshirt junior, really is starting to understand the nuances of playing our defense. He's a great communicator. He was getting us lined up pretty darn well. And from the Nebraska game forward, we've played with 2 safeties that are not tremendously vocal people. And so with the unavailability of Cody Sorensen, the unavailability of Tanner, we end up being very quiet at safety sometimes, and we miss checks. And when we miss checks, we cut receivers loose. And we cut receivers loose, bootleg becomes, it's a high school play. It becomes just a scoring carnival on the back end, and we've seen it now 4 or 5 weekends in a row. One small, simple play, bootleg, which is off the run action fake, has just really got us. And we've got to find a way defensively to gain some confidence of stopping that one play.
So when you said that, that was more in reference to missing players that are unavailable, and not so much with confidence being shook in the front.
It's not necessarily confidence that we're lacking. We are not even in position to show a lack of confidence. We're on the wrong guy. We're on the wrong aspect of the play. And bootleg is a play that you're taught in junior high, that you perfect in high school, and in college you use it to deadly effect if you're out of position. And we are way out of position on one play because we're leaning so hard against the run, trying to find a way to get our safeties into the front, which goes back to all the way to our major problem of our focus. Where are the defensive linemen that are going to scare people or knock them off the ball? Because I come down today, the team we're playing against this weekend, Montana, has 40 sacks. We have 5. 5. Why are we not getting sacks? It has to do with our physicality in our front and the growth and maturity that we lack in the early part of our, or the front part of our defense.
Mike, you brought the subject of Montana. Just to read and go on the web and everything, it's basically they're considering it a catastrophe this season. They have to win out to have their first. If they don't win out, they have their first losing season in football since 1985, which is pretty remarkable. You've seen Montana for a long time. You've had success against Montana. Talk about their team this year. What is happening up there compared to what's happened in the past for them?
Geez, Mark, at 1-6, I'm not real worried about other teams.
Well, because you got to play them. I say that in reference because you're playing them this Saturday.
What's different about them than from last year? I can't really see a lot different other than the final score. I mean, last weekend's ball game against UND was a carnival. I mean, it was a joyride for a fan if you wanted to go to a game and watch a quarterback throw for 600, one receiver gain 300. But the Grizzlies were right there. It took the play was not decided on the road until 27 seconds were left in the ball game. So again, they've lost some tight ball games. They've won some tight ball games. They're young at quarterback where they're relatively inexperienced because of the ongoing situation they had at quarterback. But that, and that just goes to show you how you focus on the sport in certain aspects of the sport and how key a quarterback can be in a program. And you're playing with a very young quarterback and the cast around him isn't necessarily as confident as they need to be. You stagger, and sometimes their youth at quarterback has caused them to stagger.
Mike, did you notice that last week during preparation or through 2 days this week, your team being distracted at all?
No, I did not.
Okay. What about you personally?
No, I was not.
Will you be participating in, or coaching in practice this week?
I will coach all the way up until the bus leaves for the stadium.
Is Graves still with the team?
I have no comment.
You've said no comment repeatedly. Why is that?
Because we have no comment on players who are available or unavailable. We never talk about guys that are unavailable, and right now he is still not available.
Given the situation and being a public official, do you feel you owe answers to taxpayers?
Absolutely not. Our team is an internal thing. It's a private matter. It's a family matter.
What's your birthday, Mike?
None of your business.
Coach, you talked about Montana a little bit. What do they bring that you guys have to?
Well, they bring a big physical offensive line. They've always had that since about 1985. And a pretty focused defensive front that puts good pressure on your quarterback. They're a little young in their defensive front. They lost a lot of great players off that front last year. They lost 2 great corners. And I don't know if they've fully recovered from those graduation losses.
What about I believe his name is Smithwick Hahn, the quarterback? What about him? I know he's backing up now playing. What about him?
Well, he played very well last week. He came off the bench and threw 39 passes and had his team in a position to win the game. He wasn't on the field for that last drive defensively. So, when a quarterback gives your team a lead or makes a level, defense got to go out there and make the stop.
Mike, you mentioned they have 40 sacks, yet they have lost personnel from the defense last year. Do they blitz a lot? I mean, how do you account for the 40 sacks?
They have given good pressure on their linebacking core, but they're primarily a 4-man rush team. Try to push you off the ball. They've used a lot of exotic blitzes this year, which is a little different. Coach Gregorak and I have known each other for a very long time. But I would imagine with us on the schedule, they'll take a look at what teams have done against us, and they'll lay back in coverage and let their front just put pressure on the quarterback and make it harder for us to manufacture plays down the field. Because we've already shown, and we showed last week, if you pressure us and we find you one-on-one, we can reach out and touch you.
Coach, how do you prevent giving up big points? 52 points for 2 games in a row, plus 2 70-point games. How do you prevent that? I mean, you've said repeatedly you're young on defense, but just getting them in position to not give up that many points, because it seems like your offense, you're spotting them, 40-plus points per game, and your offense can't make up for that.
We have to continue, Jeff, to develop the physical ability to defend our gap, get off the block, and make the tackle. which is the prime requisite at every single position in any defense you ever play. We are not able to get off the block in the front, hence the long runs. On time and time again, we have guys who are shaded the correct way. They're in their gap to the right side, yet they're getting tied up and not able to get off the block. For us, it's just a matter of continued work with those kids, playing at pad level, having good handwork, and getting off the block and staying in your gap, making the tackle. Pretty simple.
And it seems like they're not doing that. I mean, you say you continue to work. What's the specifics that you have to do to get
We
that
have to be bigger and stronger. We have to be as big and strong as the teams we're playing against. And the defensive linemen that our opponents have, the caliber of linemen they have, is much higher than the caliber of the defensive linemen that we have. I mean, that's pretty simple to see. I mean, with 5 quarterback sacks, who are you going to look to in our front and say, hey, there's a guy that's really playing well? So for us, it's a matter of repeated coaching and putting them in a position to be able to make more plays. We have not had an influx of returning veteran defensive linemen in this program since we've been here. And there were not. Lecky was on a tight end. He's playing anchor end for us. David Forrester was a walk-on and became unavailable this summer for almost 2 months. And on and on. Austin Graves is essentially a redshirt sophomore. You can just go position by position in our defensive front, stature-wise, height-wise, strength-wise, size-wise, we're still a year out.
Mike, I know you will never give up on a season. Your competitiveness and that you instill in your players is evident. Are you building towards next season? Is that how you see the rest of this year going?
No, we're building for tomorrow morning's practice. And we had an excellent practice this morning, and hopefully we can sandwich 2 of those together and find a way defensively to play with a little more confidence. You know, college defense is played by 11 guys. And I don't know if you watched the game last week. On the last touchdown we surrendered last week, 11 guys had a shot to make the tackle, and nobody even got on the ground. So what we did was sat with our guys on on Monday and showed them the videotape and said that's not a representative of how you want to play. And it comes down to a little bit of issue of pride and making sure guys understand how to play the sport. You have to have respect for the sport, play as hard as you can. I didn't think we were playing as hard as we can in certain parts of last week's program. And that comes all the way back to me as a head coach. Make sure your guys are going, are emotionally invested, that they're spilling their bucket, and they're giving everything they've got in every single play.
Is it too soon to ask you about who you're going to be rooting for in the World Series?
Yeah.
Too soon?
Yeah.
No comment.
He's in
I do
mourning.
not know. Did we win last night?
Oh,
9-0
No,
Giants.
9-0 San Francisco.
we ain't gonna buy that one.
Yeah.
I literally do not know.
You guys won. You're in the World Series.
I did not know until right now.
Yeah.
Seriously, I did not know.
Because San Francisco won 9-0.
Did they?
Yes.
Awesome. Well, go Giants. I'm a National League guy. No 0-2 curveballs for me.